Hi there, this is a piece of audio content that is only available in full over at patreon.com/ElwoodCityLimits. We wanted to give you a little bit of a preview to show you what you might be missing out on. You can join us for as little as $1 under the pay what you want model at patreon.com/ElwoodCityLimits and get access to over dozens of hours of content, including every episode of For the Kids, a PBS Kids podcast. We appreciate you listening, whether you're a patron or whether you're listening on the free feed. You're under no obligation to join, and thank you very much for checking out this preview. But if you'd like to know what these episodes and extra content sounds like, here's a little bit of a sneak peek. So this story has to do with Molly, who is a young Alaskan Native girl, and her friend Tui, who are going to be part of a musical show. They're putting up posters for a musical show. And they find a picture of Molly's grandpa when he was a kid. There's one really minor thing that I want to note here. They find the picture because Molly, or not even Molly, Tui picks up like a talking moose toy, and he gets really spooked by the way that it sounds. It's just like, it's a phenomenon. I don't even know. Maybe they still have this in toys. It's like, you ever have a toy that had like a voice box or something, and then the voice box would screw up and it would sound really like devilish, really scary?
Yes, demonic. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Just, it's the classic. One of my favorite YouTube videos is the singing fish that, like, every time it turns away, it sounds like a demon, and I'm sure I've talked about it on here, but it's the looked good, looked. It just reminded me of that a little bit. As we mentioned earlier, the show is primarily animated in Flash, and Lucas, you even said yourself, we are capable of, we're not morally opposed to Flash at all points. If we're not a fan of it with Arthur, but unlike Arthur, which was fitted to Flash later, this is not meant to be a joke. It's a native Flash show, so it looks more natural, and it's very easier to get lost in watching the show rather than being like, well, that looks weird, or that character looks weird. Like, it all works together very well.
Yeah, I mean, I again have a particular aversion to Flash animation, and okay. I will say that I think this show, it's funny because the art on this show can be really, really, really good. And what I mean by that is, like, all of the background art. This is where sometimes people use Flash less like a tool and more like a crutch. And because some things can be easy, they let the quality go the wayside. And I think that there are some things that you're never going to get past, mainly kind of the puppet-like movements of the characters with Flash. And Molly of Denali still kind of has that. And I think I notice this stuff more than most people, but I still kind of notice the kind of unnatural puppet-like movements, and I'm not really a fan. But everything else in terms of this show's art design is really, really good, including especially the backgrounds. I think a lot of the background art, if you really look at the landscapes and the way they draw spaces in this show, it's really great. And it almost makes me lament, what would this show look like if the characters weren't animated in Flash? If it had more of an older quality to it, I think it could look even that much more amazing. But I will say that Flash aside and janky character movements aside, you're right that once you kind of get going and you accept that that's what it looks like, it's easy to kind of ignore, and it is a good-looking show regardless.
Okay, that's going to do it for now, but we will see you next time on Elwood City Limits or at patreon.com/ElwoodCityLimits if you decide to join us. Thank you very much, and have a great week.